bonfire photography is basically shooting plankton. It's a special kind of photography where we set up light baits to attract plankton and so that we can shoot them. Technically speaking, it's one of the most difficult kind of underwater photography. The universe of subjects here are out of this world. In terms of appearance, they are alien-like.
Lagi tayong napapamangha sa ganda ng kulay ng buhay ng karagatan, lalo na kapag nakikita nating maliwanag at malinaw ang tubig sa ilalim. Pero alam nyo ba mga kasangbahay na pagsapit ng dilim ay mas mapapamangha tayo sa mundo ng ilalim ng dagat. So gear up buddies for a bonfire diving adventure and join us in making waves beneath. I am Cindy Maduma and this is The Dive.
Come and join our journey down into the reefs and tides. Come and sit beneath the waves, the wonders of this life. Open your eyes and see the world below the seas. It is the wonder of God's creation that makes us believe. So The Dive.
Lang sa ilalim ng dagat na hindi basta-basta nakikita ng mga mata ng tao, tulad ng plankton. Pero sa tulong ng mga underwater camera at ilaw ay maaari natin makita ang mga pambihirang buhay na ito sa gitna ng dilim through bonfire diving photography with Yoro. Sir Ram, what is bonfire photography?
So bonfire photography is basically shooting plankton. It's a special kind of photography where we set up light baits to attract plankton and so that we can shoot them. It's unique because we're normally used to seeing reef critters, mga animals that reside on the reef. But we rarely appreciate yung mga critters or animals that live in the mid-water column. So sa gitna sila ng tubig. And because that's their habitat, they kind of like have special physical traits, characteristics that enable them to survive the mid-water column. That's why their appearance is otherworldly. They're not like the usual reef fish that have like a set of fins, pectoral fins, dorsal fins, and all that. Ito, medyo iba yung appearance nila. Generally speaking, plankton means all the larval fishes, mga baby na fish, baby na mga mollusk, baby na mga crustaceans, and all of those. And all the other drifters. So jellyfish, they live in the mid-water column. You never see them at the bottom. And also the mga deep sea fishes like sea dragon, angler fishes, mga juveniles. In the morning, they hide in deep water to avoid predators. Kasi young pa sila, they're easily preyed on by predators. So they hide in the cloak of darkness in deep water. And at night, gutom na yan sila, they will vertically migrate up to shallow water, as shallow as even the surface. That phenomenon is actually referred to as scientifically as vertical migration. And it's the biggest migration of any set of animal on Earth. Trillions, gazillions, every night they go up and to feed. And because of that, we're able to, number one, time the encounter, and then kind of like enhance the encounter using the light baits because they're attracted to light, they come close to the light, and that's our opportunity to shoot them.
Alam nyo ba mga kasangbahay na si Yoro ang pioneer at proponent ng bonfire diving and photography? So, paano at bakit nyo nabuo yung idea or method ng bonfire photography?
So bonfire photography has its roots in blackwater diving. So blackwater diving back then, in the Philippines, it was beginning to boom. From our planning, I was able to get some idea how blackwater happens. And from that discussion, I can recall that what stuck to me was that Gutsy mentioned, even if we're doing it in really deep waters, normally the action is very shallow. So around 11 meters or so. So I decided, why not try it in just shore entry and set up the light weights in 11 meters. It was just a wild guess. And to my surprise, and to everybody's surprise, true enough, they were there. And it makes sense because vertical migration from the depths, they will come up shallows anyway, and some of them will spill over to even the shore. And that's how bonfire diving started.
Why it is special to other underwater photography methods?
It's unique, because this kind of photography, you shoot in mid-water. Most of the time when you're shooting, you don't even see the bottom. So you have to have extremely good buoyancy to remain there in mid-water. And your subjects are also moving. They're not reef critters that lie flat on the ground. So they're also moving, and you're in mid-water. So it's pretty challenging, as you can imagine. And you're chasing after them, or they come after you. And so you, technically speaking, it's one of the most difficult kind of underwater photography.
What level of scuba diving certification is ideal for bonfire photography?
For bonfire diving, you need to be at least advanced open water diver or open water diver with night dive specialty. Because remember, this is night dive. You need to be trained for night diving. You need to be familiar with the hand signals. You need to execute really good buoyancy so you don't get disoriented because you're not seeing the bottom. Even if it's only at 6 meters depth, if you stay in 3 meters because it's pitch black, it's night, you don't see the bottom. It feels like you're in very deep water. And if you're not careful, stray a little bit deeper, you might end up going deeper and deeper and deeper, and don't want that. Aside from the certification, you need to have a high level of experience with night diving. It's one thing to get certified, but it's one thing to also demonstrate really good buoyancy. It's not only for your safety, but also to make the photography easier or possible.
Hindi tulad sa mga reef fishes and critters, kakaiba ang mga itsura ng mga plankton o ibang larval marine animals na subject for this type of underwater photography.
We are shooting macro, yes, but the critters, the universe of subjects here, are out of this world. They are animals that have adapted physically to the rigors and the dangers and the traits of living in mid-water column. So they have special, unique fins, unique body structures. The term that comes to mind is they look, in terms of appearance, they are alien-like.
Bukod sa mga kakaibang itsura, ay kakaiba rin ang mga behavior na ipinapakita ng mga plankton. Can you share with us your favorite bonfire photo taken here in Anilao?
Just like my macro shots, again, there's so many, but there's one recently that I'm really, really happy with. And this was a photo of a paper nautilus, a female paper nautilus, which is an octopus technically speaking, but with a shell. It was riding on a jellyfish, and they do that because they need to octopus are not good swimmers. They need to rest. That's why they hitch on jellyfishes sometimes. What makes this particular photo unique is that the paper nautilus, the octopus, was actually in the process of weaving a shell. So they create the shell. The female ones, okay. So the male does not have a shell, but the females, they make their own shell and they carry it on their back. It's in preparation for their breeding, so that when they lay eggs, they keep the eggs inside the shell. Now this particular shot, the female was going into about to enter the breeding stage, and she was in the process of weaving the shell. So you could see some of her arms are holding the tiny shell here at the back. And then in front of her, you can see like the filaments, organic filaments that she was using to make the shell bigger.
That's kind of cute. How small is that?
This one, the octopus was maybe as big as your thumb. Yeah, and then the jellyfish was maybe the full thumb size.
So you
pretty
can-
tiny.
You can't hardly see
Pretty
it in the
tiny.
naked eye.
Right. And the thing with that shot, no, because of course the jellyfish goes like this all the time, right? When I was shooting it, I didn't realize what was happening. I thought it was a regular octopus, paper nautilus, sitting on the jellyfish. No. Only later after the dive did I realize that she was actually creating the shell. That's, to my knowledge, that's the first ever photo of a paper nautilus creating its organic shell.
Saying all these things, it made me so excited to try it. So, anong oras tayo pwedeng pumunta na sa dagat para subukan ng bonfire photography?
We can go down as early as 6:30 or 7 o'clock to get the best of the conditions.
So, I think pwede na natin i-prepare yung equipment natin.
Yes. I'm also looking forward to what's in store for us later.
Tara na!
Let's go.
Start the dive. Start the dive.
Yes. Okay. So before we go down, I'll show you lang yung bonfire kit natin.
Alright.
And to give you an idea how to set it up later. So here you can see, we have a balloon. Tapos this is our bonfire lights, It's a bonfire kasi when they're clumped together, it looks like a big fire underwater. In fact, yung mga tao sa surface, they can see that from here. So total nito in terms of lumens, mga 20,000 lumens.
Ang taas.
Plus minus. Yes, strong enough to attract plankton to come. So yung gagawin natin, okay, i-secure ko muna yung balloon to a dead rock doon, sa that area, sandy area dyan. And then hanap tayo mga patay na mga rocks, and that's where we'll secure this.
Okay.
And we'll deploy it up to the surface. Now let's pretend sa surface na ito. Surface na siya. I-secure ko lang yung bonfire line dyan, dito sa may hook, And then it will like drop to about a foot underwater. And that's where we want it to be. Kasi remember, the plankton will come up anyway to the surface. So as they go up, they will see this, they will collect, and then hopefully we can see something special to that will feed and we can shoot. Okay.
Alright.
At dahil lumubog na ang araw, ito na ang oras sa paglitaw ng mga plankton. Hindi na bago sa akin yung night dive, pero exciting siya kasi gagawin namin yung bonfire photography, and it's my first time. At mas lalong nakaka-excite nung sinabi ni Ram na mala out of this world and alien-like creatures yung makikita namin underwater. Medyo malamig na yung tubig that time, and good thing we did a shore dive entry, and our accommodation, Pacifico Dive Resort, has a perfect spot for a shore dive. Kailangan muna naming lumayo sa shore to get an ideal condition for bonfire photography.
You want to do bonfire diving in a place where plankton can easily access your light baits. And remember, we mentioned that they come from the deep and going up to the shallow waters. So the best sites would be somewhere where it's sloping down, okay, or a little bit steep, or if you have like a drop off, that would be best because they come from here, they will go up, and then they will spill over to the shallow water. Or if it's a slope, an inclined slope, you have access to deep water, they come up, and then they will spill over you. If you dive in a slow sloping area, that can do also, but the set of plankton you will get are more coastal plankton, so not the deep plankton.
So, what are the things that we need to prepare?
So we need to set up our light baits, very important. Kasi yung light baits, those are that's our mechanism to attract the plankton to come. No? Most of them are phototactic, or meaning they're attracted to light. So they'll amass over our light baits, and then bigger predators will come in, bigger plankton, and that's what we will shoot. The first kind of plankton that will come are actually really tiny. Hindi natin ma-appreciate with the naked eye. But that's good because they will serve as food for the plankton that are better sized for shooting. Aside from the light baits, we need our regular camera setup. Before, we used to believe that only DSLR cameras can do the, can address the challenge of shooting in mid-water, you're moving because of the fast autofocus. But nowadays, because of technology, even like compact cameras, they
Can
can
do it.
also manage. That's a good thing now. So for anyone out there who wants to do bonfire blackwater photography, even if you have a compact camera, yes, it's manageable. Of course, you just have to pick your subjects. The DSLR will just give you more opportunity to pick your subjects. But with the compact, you just need to be selective. The really fast-moving ones may not, but a lot of them are not all of them are fast. So you still have a lot of subjects to shoot for your photography. I've had some buddies diving with me in bonfire dives using a GoPro, and they were able to manage.
If you want to know more about bonfire photography and camera setup, may mga workshops ding ginagawa si Ram. Just follow his social media accounts for his future lectures. In just a few minutes, nakahanap na si Ram ng lugar kung saan ideal mag-set up ng light bait. Ang ilaw na ito ay magsisilbing bonfire natin under the sea. So dahil nasa shallow area lang kami for bonfire photography, we really need to maintain a good buoyancy, lalo na sandy bottom yung dive site natin, and iniiwasan din natin mabulabog yung sea floor para ma-document natin na mas maayos yung mga plankton. Hindi pa man tumatagal nang makapag-set up si Ram, ay marami ng mga plankton na naaakit sa liwanag ng ilaw. Ilang minuto lang ay may mga nakita na kaming plankton at agad nagsimula si Ram sa pagkuha ng mga litrato nito. Una naming nakita ay isang siphonophore. Kauri siya ng corals at ng mga jellyfish. Nakaka-amaze kasi it's transparent, tapos may makikita kang bright orange sa magkabilang dulo nito na parang umiilaw. Alam nyo ba na kung yung mga balyena, yung largest animal in the ocean, yung mga siphonophore naman, yung longest known marine creature, at humahaba ito ng hanggang 50 meters? Nakunan din namin ang isang larva ng anemone. Anemones are bottom dwellers, and nakakatuwa na makakita ka ng anemone at the early stage of its life drifting underwater. Then just a few minutes, may nakita ulit akong isang larva. This time, it's a crab larva. I'm so excited to show it to Ram, pero siya, sobrang chill lang niya. Relax na relax lang siya while taking a photo of it, samantalang ako, I couldn't contain my excitement that time. Lalo na nung dumaan lang ito right in front of my face. It looks really amazing, fantastic, and I'm mind blown. Woo! Sunod naming nakunan ay isang bristle worm na may yakap-yakap na itlog. At maya-maya pa, isang Setinophora o comb jellies ang nakita din namin. Maihahalin tulad ang itsura nito sa isang jellyfish. Isa sa mga unique feature ng bonfire photography ay yung ma-document mo yung mga behavior ng mga creatures in a very magical and interesting way. Tulad sa isang kuha ni Ram na fish larva na nakikisakay sa isang jellyfish. Phronima na dala-dala ang kanyang mga itlog. at ang wonderpus larva na may maliit na shrimp na nakikisakay sa kanya. Ram also gave me a chance to try taking photos during that dive, but to be completely honest with you guys, I didn't get a good shot. Sobrang hirap niya, unlike other photography methods like macro na yung subject mo andyan lang, staying still. Dito yung mga plankton, sobrang bibilis nila, sobrang nililikot, and bago mo pa sila makunan, nawala na sila bigla. And you need to stay in one place, hovering, pero sobrang nag-enjoy ako. And I hope to try it again next time. I really love doing it.
Start the dive. Start the dive.
Well, I couldn't really find any word to best describe the marine creatures that we've seen during bonfire diving, except from alien-like or otherworldly. And through bonfire photography, it's fascinating kasi you get to see them at the early stage of their life. And hindi mo kasi sila makikita ng ganun kadetalyado sa umaga, or even hindi mo talaga sila makikita in daytime, but at nighttime with the aid of our strobe lights, mas lalo pa natin silang ma-appreciate. Gaya nitong larva of flounder, lionfish, mantis shrimp, snail villager, soulfish, squid, at ang banded pipefish na ito. Every after night dive, isa sa mga masarap gawin ay ang kumain. And we want to thank Pacifico Azul Dive Resort for this sumptuous dinner setup. It's also a good time to ask more bonfire photography tips from Ram and talk more about plankton.
So, do you have any tips on how to get the best plankton encounter during the bonfire diving?
Yes, so if you want to make the most of your plankton encounter during the bonfire, you need to pay attention to two things. Number one, location, and number two, timing. So location, we know that plankton come from deep waters. You want to do it in a site which has access to deep water. So a drop-off would be nice. An inclined slope would be nice also. And then number two, the timing. This is not really scientific, but based on experience, what we notice is that when the sky, when the night is really pitch black, like for example during new moon, the action seems to be better. We think the logic there is that pag madilim and your light baits are the only light source, plankton will tend to gravitate to that. But pag maliwanag, spread out yung ilaw, they tend to spread also. So you have better chances of having more plankton in your swarm when it's pitch black during new moon especially.
So, how to shoot skittish plankton naman during mid-water diving?
Skittish plankton, because you're shooting in mid-water and they're always struggling to drift or to swim. Parang given na siya. There are some that are slow drifters, some are fast drifters naman. So the best thing you can do is to first observe and study their pattern. Although they can't swim very well, they somehow have a semblance of a pattern underwater. So when you figure that out, you can actually wait in a spot and just wait for them to hit that area, and then that's when you shoot. No? Of course, while you're waiting, be ready with your settings, and then so that when it passes, you automatically focus and then shoot. When you're shooting with a compact camera, because they're slow to focus, it's best to use manual focus and just fix the focal length, and you just rack focus, they call it. No? So you move forward or backwards to get the subject in the focal area.
So usually, gaano ka katagal nag-aantay for some unique planktons to arise?
Kasi mabagal mag-collect yung plankton because they're drifters and they're bad swimmers. No? Normally takes, based on averages, I would say around 20 to 30 minutes. So it's nice to, when you set up your lights, expect a slow start. But you spend that time, the first 20 to 30 minutes, to practice your shooting. No? Fix your lighting, work out your range, so that when plankton comes, ready ka na.
So they say that there are so many planktons in the ocean. So gaya nga nung dive natin ngayon, sobrang dami kong nakita. And sabi nila, mas marami pa daw yung population ng planktons kesa sa mga tao. Can you tell us about the significance of planktons in our marine ecosystem?
Actually, very important. Without them, the ocean will be empty. Sila yung base ng marine food chain. So without plankton, walang small fish. Walang small fish, walang big fish. Walang big fish, walang bigger fish. No? So, titiklop yung food chain, and vis-a-vis, wala nang marine life. No? And the amazing thing is that doesn't end there. No? In fact, their significance extends to us here on land. Did you know that plankton actually produces, collectively, they produce at least 50% of the world's oxygen supply. So pag walang plankton, we will basically starve with oxygen.
Because of bonfire diving and photography, we had a new perspective about the ocean. We have seen how diverse the life in it. Kahanga-hanga na sa malawak na mundo ng karagatan ay may maliliit na nilalang na nagpapatuloy ang buhay sa kabila ng kadiliman. At kung maunawaan natin kung paano sila namumuhay, ay maliliwanagan tayo kung paano natin mas mapapangalagaan ang buhay ng karagatan. Ito rin ay maliwanag na patunay na sa likod ng mga buhay na ito ay may dakilang Diyos na lumikha. This is your diving buddy, The Dive.
Sing of the dive.